Yo, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel. It's Ridio. Today we are talking about the best build, or at least the best build in my opinion, for the Rogue class in Dark and Darker. I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as I can, so let's not waste any more time. Let's just get straight into it. So first we're going to start off with the perks and skills here. The first perk we have is Ambush. The first attack within 3 seconds after being released from stealth deals 50% additional weapon damage as damage. So the first 3 seconds after being released from the hide ability, the invisibility ability, as soon as you come out of it, for 3 seconds after that, you have 50% additional weapon damage for your first attack. This is very good if you run hide. I would say if you're running the invisibility, definitely you want to be running this. You just do 50% of your weapon. So if you have 14 damage weapon, you're going to be doing 21 damage instead because an extra 7, which is half of 14. Next, we have Backstab, which is increases your damage bonus by 30% when attacking behind the target. This is a very good perk for hitting people in the back. If you're playing a solo rogue, this is especially good. If you go invis and then you wait for someone to pass you and then you go and stab them in the back, this is what a lot of rogues like to run. I say run it if you're running invis, and especially if you're solo. This does work well if you have a group as well, but it is really good for just catching people off guard and then hitting them in the back. When crouch walking, the volume of your footsteps sound is significantly reduced. This really isn't that great compared to the other perks. There's really no reason to run it. I wouldn't run it. But if you're solo and you just want to be more silent and move speed with crouching, you can run it, but I'm going to go and say don't run it because there's really no reason to, because it's not better than these other perks. Dagger Expert, this just increases your bonus by 5% when attacking with the dagger. 5% is not that much, and you are going to be using daggers, but it's not going to be your main hand weapon if you're running Rapier. I like to run Rapier myself, so I don't really run Dagger Expert because it's also not as good as the other perks on here. Hidden Pockets, this is only if you want to sit in the dark. This takes off your red and blue potions that are on your hip here, like this, so that you can hide better in the dark. It's pretty fucking useless, so I would not run it. Lockpick Expert is a really good one if you're just going for loot. You can hit pick lock chest as many times as you want, no matter what. You don't need any lock perks or anything. This is the best one for getting loot. So if you're actually going for loot, I would run this. If you're just going for kills and stuff, there's no reason in running it because there is better perks for killing, of course. Pickpocket has got to be the most useless perk in the entire game. There's literally no reason to ever fucking run it. You can do it for memes, I guess, because Pickpocket is literally just when you're in the dungeon, you can go up behind an enemy and you can steal one item from their inventory. I don't know how you're getting that off. I have no clue how you're ever actually going to sneak up behind someone and actually take something out of the inventory without them knowing you're there. I mean, if you want to run it for the memes, go ahead, but that's a useless fucking perk. Now, this has got to be the best perk for the rogue, or at least one of the best perks. You want to run this perk no matter what, really. It is probably the best perk. Probably your first perk you want to run because it's just that good. Poison is great. It's 4 magic damage. So if you didn't know, if you have magic damage attributes on your weapons, it's actually going to make your poison stronger. I don't believe true magic damage counts toward the poison damage. Magic damage on a dagger or rapier is going to do more damage with the poison weapon, and overall poison's just good anyway. So any damage over time is really good with the rogue. So definitely run poison weapon for sure. Next we have stealth. If you're hiding, you can move 10 steps while crouched or slow walking. This is the only other one I would really run over poison if you only have 1 perk slot, especially if you're running invis, which you should probably be running invis. Basically, when you're invisible, you can just crouch or you can hold shift to slow walk and you can move 10 steps without becoming uninvisible. But after those 10 steps, you will become visible again. And then trap detection. This is a pretty cool perk. You do get to see every trap, including the traps in the dungeon and ranger traps, and it will show as a bright glowing red. It is very good for being able to detect traps, but it's just really no reason to run this over these other 4 perks that are on here. So I would say no, don't run this. The only perks you really want to interchange with these 4 here would be Lockpick if you want better loot, and this if you just want more damage with the dagger. So moving on to skills. First skill we have is the brand new skill for Rogue that's called Caltrops, and it is okay, I guess, if you're running a get the fuck out build. If you just literally want to run the fuck away from everybody, this is pretty good because if you're running from someone, it's just going to drop the Caltrops right behind you and it's going to slow them down. If you are only planning on running from people, run this or Smoke Bomb, because Smoke Bomb's the exact same way. It slows people down and it drops it behind you. So if you're like a solo and you just want to get out with loot, run Caltrops or Smoke Bomb with invisibility. Just run one or the other. Up to you, but I don't run these because I don't really run in fights or from fights because I like to fight fight. But so if you are taking fights, Rupture and Weak Point are both really good abilities. Rupture is going to be your go-to because it's just a base 20 physical damage over 5 seconds no matter what, as long as you hit them with the attack, of course. It's a very good damage over time ability. Definitely run this. Weak Point attack is good. It does an additional 50% weapon damage to the target for 1 attack, and it reduces their defense. It is a very good attack. Honestly, you can run either or. They're good. I don't usually like to run Weak Point attack on lower damage weapons, such as like the base Rondo Dagger that does 14 damage, because you're only getting another 7 damage from this. It does reduce the target's defense, which is good as well. So you have that as well. If you have a higher damage weapon, I would say definitely run it, but the bleed is so good with the damage over time. If you're on the edge about whether you should run one or the other, I say Rupture, but then again, both are good. And if you want to get really crazy with it, and you just want to do all damage, you can run both of them. I have tried this myself. It's actually pretty fun as long as you can juke enough in combat and you're not worried about having to go invisible from them. If you just want to do a shit ton of damage as Rogue, this is a viable build for sure. You have the poison, you have the bleed, so you're stacking poison and bleed, plus reduced defense for 5 seconds. That's a pretty good damage build for Rogue. If you want to run it, do it. There's literally no problem with it. Usually you're going to go with Hide because it's just that good of a perk. The invisibility is awesome. Now, before I end the video, I just want to talk about gear for a little bit, what you can be running with Rogue, what kind of differences there is in between weapons and stuff. So the best weapons you can really run with Rogue is going to be the Rapier and the Castilian Dagger combo. These are just amazing together. The Rapier, if you're not running it, you need to be as the Rogue. It is the best main hand weapon for Rogue by far. The attack pattern is phenomenal. It's one of the best attack patterns in the game, and you get so much more range with it than with like the Rondo Dagger. So like if you're in fights against like a barbarian and you really don't want to get hit, you have the first attack on this has so much more range. You're actually going to be able to have a lot better chance at going in and hitting a barbarian or literally anyone and backing out of the fight again. But if you haven't tried Rapier, you better be running Rapier as your main hand. It's just that good, unless you just happen to have like a really high tier Rondo Dagger or something. And the Castilian Dagger is probably the best offhand for Rogue. The Stiletto is good too, and the brand new Short Sword is pretty good as well. They're all really good. Don't forget though, with the secondary weapon, the weapon that goes in this slot, the third attack has a damage bonus. So try to hit that third attack on these secondary weapons. You do get a damage bonus that does more damage than the first 2 attacks on the secondary here. The Stiletto is also a very viable option. It is the quickest stabbing dagger in the game. You can get 3 attacks off very quickly. This dagger is plenty good to use too if you don't have a Castilian Dagger. Nothing wrong with the Stiletto. It just has very short range, but still a very good dagger. And then give the Short Sword a try. It's pretty damn good too. And it has more range than the other ones. One other thing I want to mention is with the Rogue, you want to be trying to run throwing knives as much as possible. Throwing knives are super important for the Rogue. People tend to sleep on them, but they are actually very, very good. Also, if you're running Rupture or the Weak Point attack that does 50% more damage and reduces their defense, if you use that ability, it also works if you throw a throwing knife for it. So these abilities also work on throwing knives, so keep that in mind. And one more thing is Potion of Protection. If you're running Rogue, you're super squishy. You all know this. So you want to be running Potion of Protection as often as you can. Try to bring 1 in at least, but I usually try to bring 2 or 3 because every single fight you're going to want to start off with a Potion of Protection. It's going to save your life over and over again. Do not forget that with Rogue, bandages are your best friend. Potion healings are good to take while fighting, but potion healings do work worse for the Rogue. It doesn't actually give you 15 HP when you heal. I think it gives like 11 HP because your will is so low. So potion healing is still good to run, but you are not actually getting 15 HP from it. Just keep that in mind. I still run them, of course, because they're still good. But bandages, since you have the fastest interaction time in the game, bandages are really good to run as well. So just run a variant of both. And then running invis potions is always good, but that's up to the user. And with Rogue, you want to try to stay as light as possible so that you get your movement speed bonus that you get from that. Armor is not as important if you're just dodging the attacks anyway. But run what you want there is really just preference. That's going to be it for this video. I hope you learned something about building Rogue. Let me know your build down in the comments for the Rogue. Tell me if it's different or if you have a better build in your opinion. After all, there's no perfect build in the game. This is just the best build in my opinion, or at least the best build that I like to run. Of course, I mix it up sometimes. It's always good to mix it up sometimes. But anyway, that's going to be it. Good luck out there in the dungeon. Have a good one. Hope to catch you in the next video. Peace out.